My name's Vin Arthi. I'm the biographer of the man who's arguably the Soviet Union's most celebrated spy, Colonel Rudolf Ivanovich Abel, or, to go by his real name, William Fisher. William Fisher was the second son of Heinrich Fischer, an ethnic German born in Russia who fell foul of the Tsarist police because he was an ally of Lenin, and he was exiled to the UK in 1900. At the beginning of the 20th century, Clara Street stretched all the way from the top down to the River Tyne here, and this part of the Tyne Valley had pit heads, shipbuilding, armaments factories, and this is where Willie Fisher's life began. The Fishers loved living in this part of England. There was plenty of work. They moved around from rented property to rented property. And it was here, 113 Hampstead Road in 1907, that disaster struck. Old man Fisher had kept up his revolutionary activities and was involved in smuggling Mauser pistol cartridges and Mauser rifle cartridges to Russian revolutionaries in St. Petersburg. Someone ratted on him and there was a police raid. He avoided prosecution, but the police were onto him. He was after British citizenship, so he had to move out of the city and the family went to the coast. After the cartridge affair, the Fishers moved along the river to Whitley Bay to escape the Newcastle police and to be in a new area when they went for British citizenship. They loved Whitley Bay and ended up here in Lycia Avenue. It could be said that the young Willie Fisher's espionage career began here, Browns Point, Whitley Bay. It was here that the young Willie Fisher was a schoolboy, and it was here in 1907 that the Colour Coats ship-to-shore radio mast was erected. Willie and his school friends were fascinated by radio. They made themselves crystal sets and listened in to the signals that were being sent and received. He went on to serve as a radio officer in the KGB. He was responsible for setting up radio networks in Oslo in the mid-1930s and then in London in the late 1930s. In the Second World War, he was responsible for Operations Monastery and Berezina. These were radio deception games where the Russians got the Germans to drop medical equipment, radios, supplies, even ammunition and money behind enemy lines. Willie Fisher's cover when he was a KGB illegal spy in New York in the 1940s and 1950s was as a visual artist. I wonder if he went along to New York art galleries to look at the paintings of Winslow Homer, because Winslow Homer was here at the end of the 19th century painting these coastal scenes. The Fishers were content here, so why did they leave? Probably the first disaster was the First World War. It came so quickly. Heinrich's German accent was a real problem. He was shunted from job to job. And then after the war, economic depression set in and work was difficult to find again. But something else had happened. In 1917 was the Russian Revolution, and by 1921 the Soviet Union was established. The Fishers were able to return to the promised land.